Hello, it's Nerfcraft, and this is Donatello's Level 2 upgrade.
Oh.
You guys slammed that down too. You just dropped it again. Wow. That was almost not a waste of time.
That was epic, dude.
So if you could not tell what was going on in the intro there, we have all the parts to convert Donatello into a wrestler. And today I have my dad helping me, so he's just starting by taking off the front tires. Now that the front tire has been removed, you need to remove that little pin and pull out the axle. The axle pin should slide out through the back. So now we have the longer wrestler front axle somewhere right under me, right under Donatello I mean. So these are longer, so they'll be able to actually fit the Stampede tires. And he's gonna, and all you have to do is slide it right back in the same way the old one slides out. Done. Oh yeah, don't lose that Teflon washer either. You need that. Now you can put the pin in. And then you need a hub adapter, hex adapter, but you want to use the thicker ones. Dad.
Why is this not fitting?
Because you're not pushing hard enough. So now the hex adapter has been installed. So all we need to do is put on the front tire. And the chevron pattern should be pointing forward. So it looks like arrows and they're going to point forward. Guys, if you look at the size comparison between this tire and the old tire, that's a big tire right there. So yeah, once that pin is replaced and the hex adapter is installed, you can just put the front tire back on just the way the old one came off. So my dad's already working on converting the other side, so it's just the same as the right side. So we'll be back once that's installed. So now the front tires have been installed, so we can start converting the rear end of the truck. Or buggy, whichever it should be called right now. I'm not entirely sure. But let's go ahead and start converting the rear end. So I'm going to start by taking off both the rear tires. Now we can unplug the two motor wires. Next we need to unscrew the 4 screws that hold in the rear shock tower. Once that has been done, we can remove the shoulder screws that hold on the camber links on either side. Now that those 2 screws have been removed, we can remove the motor by unscrewing the 2 screws on the front of the transmission plate. Now that the motor has been removed, we can remove the wheelie bar mount by undoing that 1 screw in the middle of it, that bottom screw there, and that last transmission screw on that side. So once those screws have been removed, the wheelie bar mount will just slide right off. And now we can remove the 4 screw pins that hold in the A-arms. The axle carriers should now be able to slide off, taking the half of the shafts with them. And the A-arms are now removed. So we can take off the bottom screws of the shocks from each of the A-arms. The rear A-arms have now been completely separated from the Bandit. So now we can go ahead and remove the pin screws that hold in the yokes to the transmission. Now that those have been removed, we can separate the axle carriers from the rest of the parts over here. For both sides, we just need to undo that shoulder screw that holds on the top of the camber link to the axle carrier, pull out this pin, and the drive shaft will slide right out. Now that the axle carriers have been separated, we can work on this part of the drive shafts. I actually don't need this output yoke because I have another one like this one. When my dad got the new output yokes for Donatello, he accidentally got the ones that were for the big bores. Not the big bores, but like the heavy duty drive shafts. So it actually uses the larger ball joint. You can see that there's just a little bit of extra slop around the pin there. But that's okay because I managed to find some out front of my school. Right here. So I'm just going to take this off and put them onto here. And they're going to be backwards from what they would normally be, but that's okay. They'll still work just fine. There's no problem with it. So let's go ahead and get this part installed. Now that these drive shafts are put together, I can put them back onto the transmission the same way that I took the yokes off. Now we need to remove these parts of the pins and put them onto the new drive shafts. Now that these are ready, we can reassemble the axle carriers the opposite of how I disassembled them. But instead of putting on the same camber links again, I'm going to be putting on the longer ones that I just dropped. But you can see that if we take a look, the new ones are much longer. So I'm going to install those instead. And of course, when we put the drive shafts on, we're also going to need to put on the hex adapters. Now that that's been done, we can go ahead and install the new A-arms by inserting the two longer pins through the back of the A-arms and through the holes in the transmission. Now I can slide the other half of the drive shafts into place and screw in the bottom of the axle carriers. Now it's time to reinstall the camber links. This works just the same as the old ones, except that they're longer. Now I can screw the rear shock tower back in. Now I can reinstall the bottoms of the shocks. Now I can put the motor back in, making sure to mesh the gears properly. Now I can plug the motor back in and reinstall the wheelie bar mount. And the last thing that we need to do is just put the Stampede VXL rear Talon tires onto the back of Donatello. And it's done, guys. Donatello is no longer a bandit. He's now a wrestler. So let's go ahead and plug in a battery and see if this works. Alright, there's Donatello. So we have steering and throttle. Yeah. Guys, this is awesome. And that was Donatello's level 2 upgrade.